So there was once upon a time I was a camp counselor. On two occasions I was a camp counselor. The first time was in Cedar Rapids, Iowa in 2017 with the Ushers Ferry Historic Village. It was a zombie camp, so it was Halloween themed. It was kids, depending on the time of the day, from like usually 8 in the morning to about 12 noon. It would be like the baby kids, like they were probably like, I don't know, 5 to 8 years old. Then later in the day, around 3 p.m., we get the 10-year-olds, 10 to about, I want to say like 15. Really cool camp, really enjoyed it. And Sichka was our sponsor. And she did a great job with hosting it and everything. That was really fun to do, and the kids loved me. On the second occasion, which is going to bring out this whole story, was in Willow River, Minnesota. So for starts, I was just super excited to finally be around working with people our freaking age, bro. Y'all don't understand, when you're an intern, bro, and you're in all these other states, you only working with old ass people, super old, or just basically full-time adults, compared to us. Because we was adults, but we was still kind of kids, early 20s. I was only 20 at the time, but I was freaking excited. One of the universities from, I think, New York had came. This was before the camp sessions had started, but it was really cool to bond with them and talk to them a little bit. We got to play kickball and stuff outside. That was a really enjoyable part of that. I thought it was really cool to do because it was going to be a little bit different than the first time. The first time we didn't have to stay with the kids. We didn't live in cabins with them. We were only with them for a couple hours throughout the day. This one was the real deal. We literally were supervising them 24/7. We slept with them. We ate with them. We did everything. They had a few different types of camps at One Heartland. So I think the first one was a health and fitness camp. So usually kids that may be overweight or just not eating things properly, or their parents just wanted them to, get in shape and stay active. Maybe they didn't go outside a lot. You don't see that a lot nowadays. So there was that camp. There was a LGBTQ camp. So kids that, identify as a different gender. Oh, the other camp was troubled youth. So the best way I can explain it is maybe kids that grew up in foster care or group homes, things of that sort. Overall, it was a really cool experience. Something I've always wanted to do, but man, it was tough to do that. When you're dealing with other people's kids, I see what teachers go through now. Teachers need more pay. They definitely need more pay. Teachers may not have to live with these kids, but they're with them for a whole year, a whole school year. But anyway, I guess I can get into the health and fitness camp first. So that was probably my favorite one just because it was health and fitness. And around that time, I was a fitness coordinator for my team. So everything I was doing on a day-to-day basis was fitness. We go out and play sports, basketball, soccer, anything physical outside. So that was kind of, my forte. Another cool thing that we got to do was a drama class. So if you don't know, back in the day, I used to be real big into drama and acting and TV and stuff like that. And it was really cool to come up with scenes and stuff with the kids. For some reason, they calling me mom. I don't know why, but that's just what they call me. These kids were probably I don't know, 12, 13. It was funny. It was cute, I guess. But that was a really cool camp. Really enjoyed that. It went by so quick compared to the other ones. It went by so quick. I was very upset that, we didn't get to spend more time with them. Let's see. I can move into the next camp. The kids that grew up in transitional housing. So this one was a little bit more difficult. This was these kids were, they've been through a lot. They probably have a lot of issues, a lot of abandonment issues, things of that sort. I kind of understand where they were coming from. So I was really excited. I was excited, but not knowing what the heck we were getting ourselves into. Mind you, I was a part of Intrip. So, we only get paid through them. We don't get paid directly by the camp. I get that policy, but I think because of this. I don't know. I just feel like, still to this day, I just feel like we should have got more money to deal with that. I'm sorry. Like, I know we're not supposed to be doing it for the money, but like at the end of the day, that shit was tough, and we should have got compensated something more for that. I'm sorry. Like, I think the people who were working directly with the camp were probably making more money than we were, honestly. So to talk about the camp a little, to talk about that session a little bit, like I said, these kids were pretty rough. I know before we went and picked them up, the staff was kind of like, you guys have to be interactive with them. I don't care how mean and disrespectful they are. You guys have to deal with them, and they're your responsibility. I want to say before we even got to the part where the kids come to the camp, the training was really good. Like, it was a very thorough, interactive training. Like, it probably one of the best trainings I went through doing any type of job. I think it was really fun and cool that they did that. That was pretty much the only part I enjoyed about working at this camp was the training. And before the training, we did some construction and beautifications around the campgrounds. I think that was really cool. I really enjoyed that, just being outside. I swear to you, I will never, ever, ever, ever forget this very, very graphic video that the camp showed us. It was during the training. And, they showed us a couple movies, but this scene in particular was like a real life incident that had happened. I don't remember which year or what state it was in, but it was surveillance footage from a YMCA camp. And it literally showed there was a child that had drowned. With the lifeguard there and all the other kids around that just weren't paying attention. The lifeguard was distracted by talking to somebody, I guess. And I mean, the video went on for like, I want to say like from 15 to 30 minutes long. And the kid was literally sitting at the top of the pool, drowned, like unconscious, just sitting there around all these people who just somehow didn't notice. Like, you would think it was an act, but no, it was a real thing that had happened. And the camp ended up getting sued for it, I think. I mean, literally the saddest video I've ever seen. Like, I just couldn't believe it. And I think that they gave us a heads up, and they were just like, hey, if it begins to be too much for you, you're welcome to walk out. But anyway, one of the camps I forgot to mention was like a HIV/AIDS camp. It could have been the child, or it could have been someone in the family that may have had HIV or AIDS. There was also another camp session that I forgot to mention, but back to that little incident, the video. I mean, it was so like scary to watch that. Like, still, that's so traumatizing. Like, to this very day, it's traumatizing. Still, probably like I have kids and they go off to camp or something. Like, I guess it just taught us to be like very mindful and keep watch of the kids, because you never know what can actually happen in such a short amount of time. But anyway, fast forward, we're going to pick up the kids, and they tell us all the rules and things like that. You can't touch them, you can't hit them, you can't yell at them, because they're sensitive, and just this whole rule book of things that we just can't do. So to me, I'm just looking like, oh my God, why are they telling us all this? These kids must be about to be like some hell. And the camp counselors that have done it previously were also members of that camp when they were kids before too. So that made it a little bit interesting. So they already knew. We didn't know what the fuck we were getting ourselves into. We didn't know what the hell was about to hit us. So I can't really speak for the whole team, but I can definitely tell you it was hard on everybody. I don't know how they felt about it, but I just know that it was hard on everybody to deal with. Because I think that was everybody's first time dealing with kids. Somebody may have worked with kids before, but I personally had not. So anyway, we're on the bus. We get the kids. I'm just talking. Everything seemed to be pretty chill for the most part until we got to the camp. A couple of things that we just had to be mindful of. Allergies. Certain kids can be allergic to certain things, so you gotta, really know all of your children. I'm trying to remember. I think my age group was from around 8 years old to about 13, if I remember correctly. And I feel like I had one of the larger groups. There was probably about, I want to say 8 or 9. It was about 8 or 9 kids on my on the crew that I had. It was myself. I had a co-captain or co-counselor, and then there was no. I'm sorry. There was 3 of us. It was myself. There was a co-counselor, and then there was like a third person in case we needed the extra help, which we did because that group was insane. Like I said, I guess I want to start off with like the living situation. So we were living in cabins. Every group is assigned to a cabin. And you have a strict schedule that you have to go by. A couple of rules. I know you couldn't be, like, one person couldn't be left alone with like one single, one person couldn't be left alone with like any of the kids. So there had to be, I think, 2 people at a time, just for safety reasons, because the kid could say something like, oh, you hit them, and you probably didn't hit them, or maybe you did. I don't know the case. There's probably stuff that happened way back in the day that caused them to have this rule. Because sometimes kids say anything. You never really know, and you don't want to not believe a kid because something actually did happen, and they get their parents involved. You don't need to get involved in that. So that was a fair rule. And then, so living with them, we would have to read them stories every night for them to go to bed. That was just, something that we did. I know we couldn't be on our cell phones. I don't know if we just had our cell phones like locked up somewhere, or if we just couldn't take them with us. I can't remember the cell phone situation. I know that I didn't have mine. So it's not like we could just like, be on your phone with the kids. Like your full 100% attention had to be on them at all times. I know one of my campers, I don't remember the child. I'm probably not even going to mention the kid's name because I don't even remember. But I know one of them had like a bladder problem. So like we had to take him. Most of the time it was me. I had to take him to the bathroom like 3 times a night. So like before we lay down and go to bed, I had to take him to the bathroom. And then at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. I had to set an alarm and wake up at that time to take him to the bathroom. And then I think I had to take him like another time before they got up. So it was like that was like kind of challenging, but I understood it completely because that's what you have to do. That's your job. Or he would wet the bed or wet his clothes or something like that, which did happen a couple of times, probably like maybe twice. But for the most part, I think we did pretty good with that. I don't remember which session it was, but I do know one of my co-counselors, their name was Jack. And at first he started off as a really cool person. I don't really remember like the gender or anything like that, because there was like this big thing. We went through a whole thorough training on like he, him, she, is, and them, they, and all that. That was my first time being like introduced to something like that. I never heard of pronouns before. Now you hear it a lot more, but I never had heard of anything like that back at this time. I don't even think I had been around anybody that was even a transgender. Like, that was very, very new to me. Like, I didn't even know what that even was. So that was an adjustment. And like I said, there was also I know I had Michael. There was a guy named Michael. He was really cool. He was experienced. He knew what he was doing. And, everybody was pretty helpful for the most part at the beginning. But when things got like kind of out of hand, that's when I was like, oh shit, they threw us to the wolves. Like, we are going to be fucked. I knew I was going to be fucked because of the group that I had. Everybody was going through stuff with their group, but I knew with the kids that I had on my crew, and I was all boys, I was like, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a challenge. I remember one incident where one of the campers broke out of one of the cabins in the middle of the night while everybody was sleeping, and like went to go break into another cabin to go get their friend out of that cabin. And these kids go off and run into the woods or something. Who knows? They used to do all kind of stuff. They used to fight a lot. I remember one situation. One of the staff members, her name was, I think it was Allison, and there was like a fight going on. Now, the day before, there was another fight, but they had talked to me and it was like, hey, you can't grab the kids, you can't yell at them, you can't. So I was kind of getting frustrated because I'm like, what are we supposed to do if they start fighting? Like, we can't touch them, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't be by them. So it didn't make any sense to me. How I was like, that makes no sense. Like, how the hell are we gonna bring up a fight if we can't touch the damn kids? That didn't make no sense to me. We can't be aggressive, we can't sling them, we can't do this. I understand that they're kids, but you have to, dealing with children, especially like that, you have to be aggressive in some form or fashion. Like, you just cannot. They're gonna run over you. The kids are gonna run over you. You don't think kids are smart enough to know, like, that they are able to get away with this kind of shit and that they can just run over you and do whatever they want and they know you can't touch them or you can't yell at them or you can't be aggressive towards them in any way? These kids they know that. That's why they're doing it. So I didn't understand. Like, I don't understand because I don't run that camp. That's not my camp. I've never worked at a camp before, so I can't say that I understand. But I guess that is just the rules that they had in play. But there was a fight that had broke out on the basketball court. These two, one of the kids, for whatever reason, I do not know why, this boy just grabbed the bug spray and sprayed the other boy in the face with it, and they started fighting. So Allison just happened to be there that day, and she was breaking up the fight, and she was like, kind of in a sarcastic way, she was like, oh, co-counselor, where's your help? And I was just like, oh, you told me not to touch them. Didn't you tell me that? Like, yesterday, like, they had a whole sit down with me about this situation. So I'm like, if I can't touch them and only y'all can, the staff, why the fuck am I getting involved? You break it up. It's your job. You're the one getting paid for this. We're not getting paid for it. I hate to be like a dick like that, but like, I just wanted them to understand what kind of position they were putting us in. Like, bro, what else can we really do? We can't do nothing. But anyway, moving along from that, there was a situation with the music instructor. So I think it was called music therapy. So, you get your kids and you go in there and we go into the music room and there's an instructor in there and we have all these instruments and, so they can, learn the instruments and play with them and, hopefully that'll, help them in a way and, maybe they might discover their love for music. Who knows? I thought it was a great idea. I thought that was so cool. I wish I had stuff like that when I was a kid. That would be so dope to do. Now, this day, everything was going great. No fights, no arguing, no nothing. Just, it turned out great. I think one of the campers, maybe he was just acting up, maybe he just wanted some attention or whatever, but one of the staff members took him out of the room and placed him outside and they were talking to him. When they did that, I think that they locked the door. I know it has something to do with a door being locked, and that's what made the kids freak out. And I was just like, bruh, that was so stupid. Why would you do that? And I don't know if somebody announced that the door was going to be locked or they're going to be stuck in here or something. I don't really remember exactly what happened, but I just know that the kids were pissed, so they started freaking out, started, trying to break instruments, and, it was like kind of chaotic, and I felt so bad for the instructor. I believe those were his instruments. I don't think that the camp purchased those. So, these kids are out here destroying his stuff that he bought. And, it's nothing that I can do, again, because we can't like snatch stuff away from them. We can't yell at them and be aggressive and tell them, hey, stop doing. We can tell them to stop doing that, but we can't like really assert ourselves like the adults that we are, typically adult and a child. So that was a little frustrating, but man, it was just so much that I just can't remember every single thing. But that was one of the situations. And again, these kids are coming from, like real life challenges and situations that they've been in, things that we probably don't know what they've gone through. So that's why they're acting out like this. They are children, so they're going to do that. So I understood that 110%, but it was still a hard situation to deal with, but I did get it. I know one of the kids had a seizure outside. He was being bullied. It was a lot of stuff going on. And the staff, I know there was one meeting that we had as like staff members. I'm sorry, as camp counselors with the staff members. Like, we had a group chat I remember Selena. She just kind of went off on them about it, like kind of like how they were belittling her and belittling other people there. And I agree with her 110%. I was glad that she did that, because we couldn't really voice our opinions, because we're in a whole nother, we have a different set of uniform on. Even though we're working there with them, we don't work directly for that camp, so we might get in trouble for some of the things that we say. There's no way in the world nowadays that would be able to work, because I'm just way too opinionated, and they would have had to kick me up out of that bitch. I'm gonna get to that in a second. So there was one night I got into it with one of my partners. Their name was Jack, and like I said, at first he was cool, but I don't know what in the world got into them. I don't know why they started tripping, but just kind of being very disrespectful and kind of trying to belittle me. And I'm just like, I don't really understand where it's coming from. Also, I'm 3 times your size. We may have been roughly around the same age, but I'm 3 times your size. Like, that's probably not the battle you want to pick, bro. Like, I don't understand why you were doing that. Like, was it a cry for attention? Did this person have a crush on me or something? I don't know. I still to this day don't know. And talking about this stuff, it's kind of bringing me back and remembering, because a lot of it I really did forget about. So I'm trying to think. I know there was one day where like I felt disrespected and I confronted them about it. And they apologized. They were like, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Things got out of hand. I was just frustrated. Cool. Okay, so no problem. We ain't gonna have no problems in the future. For the rest of that day, we were good. The very next day, same problems happened. It kept talking crazy to me, especially you talking crazy to me in front of the children on top of that. Like, you need to be doing your job and you need to be doing this. Like, it was a little unnecessary is what I'm saying. There was nothing going on that bad to where you should have been talking to me that way. You're not even my supervisor. I wouldn't even let my supervisor talk to me like that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't let my TL nor any of the staff at that camp talk to me crazy. You ain't signing my paycheck. You crazy. So I had to go back to my tactics. So I'm about to threaten this fool. Like, I'm about to show you, like, I'm not somebody that you should fuck with, bro. I don't know what the fuck y'all had going on at this camp for the last couple years, but I may be professional. I am a professional at the end of the day. At this time, I was 20 years old. I was still pretty professional, but don't get it twisted. I'll knock a motherfucker head off their shoulders. I don't give a fuck about none of this. You know what I mean? Like, I'll hit anybody. Like, I'm just keeping it a bug. You ain't about to house me. I don't give a fuck who you is. This shit don't mean nothing to me. And mind you, at this time, when this project started, I had already planned to be getting ready to depart from N-Trip, because this was my second year and a job opportunity with Utah State University was coming up soon, and they were paying really good, and I hadn't gotten a position yet, but I knew that I was going to get it. I don't know why I knew. I just freaking knew. I knew that I was going to get that job, and nothing was going to get in my way and stop me, and nobody was going to tell me that I wasn't going to work for them. So anyway, what was I talking about? I think I was talking about the fight situation. So that happened. So later that night, I think I went to the staff. As I'm going to the staff, and I'm just freaking fuming. Like, I'm talking like fuming. Harmony is walking past me, and she was just like, Ray, are you okay? Me and Harmony did not get along, I think, for the most part during our time. Like, before this situation, we wasn't really getting along. But then, she came along and checked, and kind of frustrated. And I told Harmony, I was just like, bro, this is bullshit. Like, we shouldn't even be having to deal with this. Like, people are getting out of line. People are being disrespectful. I don't like the snarky ass attitudes from the staff members. And this motherfucker, my co-captain, is tripping. Like, I just basically vented to her. And I was really shocked that she even came and asked me if I was okay. I was not expecting her, out of all people on the team, to do that. I was expecting the team leader to do that. So I always appreciated her for that. And I think after that situation, that's when I gained a little respect for her. And I was just like, she's really not that bad. She's a brat, but, she means well. So I'm going to the staff telling them, like, look, bruh, y'all better fix this situation or I'm getting the fuck up out of here. I don't care if I have to book my own flight and leave this bitch and go back to the campus, but I'm not about to deal with this. I even called my mom. I don't never call my mom for nothing. At this point, at that time, like, I never used to call her and complain about work. I didn't used to have really nobody to complain about work too, because nobody would understand what the heck I'm going through. Especially being in a whole nother state, doing something, completely different, out of my element. So that was just the case, and the staff was just kind of like, relax, take a day, and yada yada yada, just a bunch of bullshit to tell me, to calm me down. And I ain't wanted to hear it, bro. I wanted to leave that night. Like, I had already packed my suitcase and everything. Like, basically, like, I'm just like, bro, if y'all don't handle this shit, bro, like, I'm gonna crash out on this nigga. Like, I don't mean to be like that, but, like, just keep it at a buck. Like, bro, you not about to disrespect me. Like, it's not about to go down like this. Like, I don't know where the fuck y'all was raised at or where y'all grew up at, but we don't do shit like that where I'm from. It's just not happening, bro. That's that white people shit. I'm sorry. Like, no offense to anybody that's listening, but, like, bro. You're not about to house me. And it was pretty late on to, like, in the game, like, for that project. Like, I know we were getting ready to leave pretty soon, but still, it was a frustrating experience, to say the least. Overall, I think it was really good. I'm glad that I was able to do that and work with kids, but trust me, I ain't trying to work with no more kids after that. And any dream jobs I had that involved working with kids, that shit is dead, bro. After working for that camp. But I will say, I really did, like, enjoy a lot of the people that were there at the camp. People I still talk to this very day. I do want to say, just in loving memory of Maya. She was one of the cooks that worked in the kitchen, who was, like, my day-to-day just spiritual advisor, man. Like, I used to talk to her more than I talked to my own team at that time. Like, she was always, like, really encouraging and very kind, and, like, I will always, appreciate her. Also, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot the girl's name. Maddie was her name. She was a super sweet chick, always very kind. Like, I just appreciate them. And I think the woman's name was Colette. I believe that was her name. She was, like, the best. Like, she would always come and sit next to me, like, during our lunches or dinners or whatever. She was super cool to talk to. Like, I really enjoyed that. So there was definitely, like, a couple people I could say was definitely, like, a support system during my time at that camp. But she was really nice too, and very, very helpful. They were, like, the only people that I felt like I could talk to about the situation. They wouldn't judge and say, oh yeah, you're making a big deal out of it. They would just kind of guide me through it. So I will always appreciate them for that. But the situation with the cook Maya, I mean, it was just so sad. But if I remember reading the article correctly, I think someone was running from the cops and ran a red light and then hit her, and she passed from that car accident, from that collision. That was just so sad when I heard that. I could not believe it. I heard about it, like, this wasn't that long ago. This was probably, like, I want to say a year ago I heard of it. But this had happened back in 2000, maybe 2020. It could have been 2019. It could have been before COVID. I just can't really remember. But, just rest in peace to her. There was this one chick, man. I don't even remember her name, but I mean, she was, like, a complete bitch, bro. Like, I've never met a young version of Karen until, like, I met this girl. Like, why did you come here if you were just gonna have a stank, nasty attitude with everybody? Like, I don't know if it was towards everybody, but I knew it was, like, a couple of members of our team she acted that way towards. And she was just, she was around the same age as us. She was a camp counselor too. I didn't understand why she was acting like that. Like, I don't get it. Like, don't be in jobs where, like, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of people and be around kids, and you're just gonna have a nasty attitude. You just can't do that. Like, you need to find something else to do, bro. Yeah, but overall, I really enjoyed the experience. And that pretty much wraps up that entire One Heartland experience.